Hey, and welcome back to Vita versus 3DS. The Vita has had its Facebook application for nearly a year now, and it has been waiting to be compared to something. As Nintendo will likely never strive to get Facebook support on the 3DS, this comparison will be between the Vita and the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Like with when YouTube came out, many people looking at Facebook on the Vita sort of scoffed at it, claiming that it's useless since they could just use Facebook on their phones. This heavily implies that Facebook's on phones is just better than Facebook on the Vita. And with statements like this needs to be tested. So there are three major criteria which we're going to go through in this video. The first criteria is speed. So how fast the application starts up and how quickly the pages and pictures load. The next one is organization. So this is how easy it is to navigate the application and to get to where you need to get to. And the last one is features. So what features does the application support on their respective systems? So we're going to jump into speed. So the first thing we're going to do to test speed is to test how fast the apps take to load up on each system. So we've closed them down and we're going to restart them. So 3, 2, 1. The Note 2 is done. Vita's still coming along, and it should come soon. Right now, Vita's done. Okay, so it was, fairly fast on both, but Vita is notably slower to load it up. So the next thing we're going to test is we're going to see how fast it takes to load a page, and what better page to load than my own timeline. So that's what we're going to do. My timeline does have some photos on the main page, so it should show, it's not an easy page to load, so it should be a good indicative of a test. So 3, 2, 1. Note 2 done. Vita's done. Okay, so the Note 2 did load it faster as well, and the Vita did load it. So there you go. So the Note 2 did load up faster and it loaded a page quicker. So the last thing we're going to test in terms of speed are photos. So I'm going to go to my photos on both, and I'm going to go to my profile picture album. As you can see here, the Note 2 did load that quicker as well. So albums and profile pictures. So we're going to bring up my profile pictures album on both. Again, Note 2 did load the thumbnails quicker, and Vita is still coming along. And now we're going to actually go to my first picture here. Note 2, as you can see, did load it faster. Vita is sharpening, and it's loaded. So in terms of just like clicking on the picture and seeing which one comes up faster and seeing which one shows better, the Note 2 does load faster pretty much in every way. But so in terms of scrolling, like as you're scrolling across, the Note 2 is smoother, but doesn't really seem to be faster by that much. But you see here, sometimes the Vita, after about 4 or 5 pictures, needs to buff a little bit. So, while the Note 2 doesn't really need to. No. Okay, so I mean, in terms of loading the image and loading pages and loading pictures and thumbnails, the Note 2 does do it faster than the Vita. So overall, if we were to conclude the speed test now, which we are, the Note 2 does take it. So now we're going to move on to organization. So for the organization category, like with the organization category of the YouTube app, the PlayStation Vita is going to take this one decisively, and I'll explain why. The Vita has everything you need laid out right away in the display. You don't need to swipe or pluck at anything to get something else that you want. Everything is out in the open. You have your pictures, your messages, your friends. You can get back to your news page. You have your profile picture, notifications, search, settings, home. You can hit anything you want right away out of the display without taking away from your on-screen or things you need to look at on screen. And this is great. I mean, as with many of you who've seen my Vita versus 3DS OS comparison, one point I gave to the 3DS was that you could see everything laid out in front of you. Well, with the Vita, you have to scroll through multiple pages. I'm just not a big fan of this. I don't understand why anybody would be. It just leads to a less cumbersome experience overall. So I much prefer the way the Vita is laid out because you don't have to scroll through anything. It's much faster. The Note 2, on the other hand, which is better scrolled vertically like this, but you can use it both ways. The problem with this is that if you look here, you know, the font's nice and big, the stories are nice and big, which is nice to see, but I can't get to my photos from here. I can't get to my page from here. I can't get to my messaging from here. Everything you have to get to is done by you hit something here, and then you can get to your places. So although it seems like one tiny insignificant step, and indeed it's not a huge deal breaker, it doesn't ruin the experience, I prefer having everything laid out in front of me. And this is especially kind of annoying considering how large these stories are, or how large anything is. For example, we're going to scroll down here. There is no reason for one picture to be this big in your newsfeed. If I wanted to see it this big, I would just press it. It could just show a tiny thumbnail like the Vita does, and you know, that's all you need. If you're intrigued, you can press it. You don't need to see them this big in the story, and this becomes especially troubling when you're holding it this way and you can't even see the whole picture. You have to scroll to see the whole picture. There's no reason for them to be this retardedly big. It just becomes a more cumbersome experience. And finally, the Vita app tends to register changes in your profile picture quicker than the Note does. I remember when you change your profile picture on your computer, sometimes on your phones it takes a little while to load, but the Vita app tends to change right away, or at least within the first 20 minutes. While the last time I changed my display picture, which was last night, it took 4 hours for it to register the change on my Note, which was kind of weird. So it just overall, it's a more fluid and laid out experience on the Vita. It's just more user friendly, having access to everything without having to swipe out menus or anything. So the layout, the Vita takes this category decisively. So now on to features. While the Vita does bring in some neat use of the back touchscreen, the Note 2 does have more features. The Note 2 shows, for example, cover photos. As you can see here, this is my own cover photo, which is just like in the PC version. This was added when Facebook got timelines, and I think it was a nice feature. It just livens up your profile a little more. And the Note 2 displays this, which is great. Most Android phones do. It's also compatible with Facebook Video. This is, although the quality may not be the best, it's still better than having to download it on the Vita, because the Vita doesn't support Facebook Video, or having to link to a YouTube that doesn't work, or having to go through the mobile site, or figuring that out. It loads right in the Facebook app, which is nice. Also, one final big advantage of the Note, or any Android device really, is that it supports real Facebook chat. So you can bring up your Facebook chat here, your friends here, and just chat with them, and it's actually really good. It tells you when they're writing, what, if they've seen what you've written and things like that. While the Vita version, it doesn't. You could still, if someone chats with you and you have your Vita in your hand, it'll get sent to your messages, so you can chat with them back in the messages, but it's not really a chat experience. It feels more like a disjointed messaging system. But anyway, so those are the major advantages of the Note. The Vita doesn't really support anything I just said. It doesn't support video, it doesn't have cover photos, and doesn't support real-time chat. Some things it does do that the others don't, and likely no other system will do, is it uses the back touch to navigate as well as the front. I like this because it's neat using the back touch because it's quick and painless, just like the front touch, but it doesn't get your finger in the way of some stories. Although it isn't a deal breaker, it's just nice to have, especially when you're browsing through some photos. The back touch is also used well. If we were to look again, let's go to my profile pictures. So you can use the back touch, of course, to scroll here, but you can also poke out some pictures, which tells you, who uploaded, tells you some data on it, like who uploaded it, how many likes or how many likes or comments it has, things like that. It is a rather useless feature. There is no real reason to have it, but it doesn't hurt, and I do like it. I do use it sometimes, and it's pretty. It's fun to use, and it's nice. So, yeah. But again, this doesn't make up for the lack of compatibility with cover photos, the lack of support for Facebook video, and the lack of real-time chat. It's just a nice thing to have. So overall, we really have to give it to the Note 2 just because of its compatibility. It has better compatibility of all these things. So overall, this largely seems like an echo of my YouTube video, with the Vita taking the organizational category again, while the Note 2 takes the rest. However, unlike the YouTube comparison, which I felt the Note 2 won because of its superior image quality, organization is the most important aspect of a social networking app. Facebook is just more painlessly navigated on Vita. Not that it's painful to use Facebook on the Note 2 or other Android devices, far from it, it's not. But it's needlessly large page icons, and the fact that you need to swipe or hit buttons to get where you need to go just sort of make it a more cumbersome experience and make Vita's better layout with everything in front of you easier to use and more painless. So that's it. I'll be comparing their Twitter apps next before doing one final three-way comparison for the Netflix apps between 3DS, Vita, and the Note 2. Just a quick note, my Facebook name is and was displayed in this video, so some of you guys may try to add me on Facebook. I just wanted to say that I don't accept friend requests from people I don't know or who haven't engaged me in conversation. If you have and you think that I would recognize you, then feel free to send me an ad. I'll more than happily accept you, and that's not a problem at all. But again, like if I don't know you and I have no idea who you are, I'm sorry, I can't add you, and please don't get offended because of that. I still think you're awesome. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.